2.5:1. Let's invite our big corporate of the day, Tata Power. We have the management now joining us. Of course, Anil Sardana, the CEO and MD of the company, is with us. Mr. Sardana, good morning. Before we talk about your last quarter's numbers, I wanted to ask you on the big news on the Mundra plant. By when are we likely to get the final verdict for compensatory tariff?
Good morning. The Mundra issue has now gone to the Supreme Court, having won at the first CRC level and then the EPTEL level. We have to now wait for the Supreme Court order to come in. Part of that you saw in one of the other orders for UMPP. Supreme Court very clearly adjudicated there that Regulatory Commission has all the powers to decide even Section 63 bid tariffs. So that's a very positive sign, and we are hopeful that once they start hearing it in March, that we should have expeditious hearing and early settlement.
But it looks like the compensatory tariff will be lower than your under recovery, right, Mr. Sardana?
No, that's not true. What had happened is that when first CRC order came in, it was with respect to our bid price of the coal. Okay. And the subsequent one, when the force majeure part was adjudicated by EPTEL, then it was with respect to the fuel supply agreement, which was at about $34. But it will cover majority part of our under recovery portion.
Okay. So what is the current under recovery at Mundra and what is the expectation as far as the tariff is concerned?
The under recovery part keeps changing because of the fuel prices. As you know that last quarter the fuel prices firmed up a bit, and therefore the under recovery climbed to a higher number. But if we go by the normative level, that if close to about $70 to $75 is the FOB price, then the under recovery will be anywhere close to about 42 to 45 paisa.
Okay, one more question on this front. You said the case is with the Supreme Court. When is the next hearing? Do we have any timetable in place? By when do you expect the final outcome? And what's the best case scenario from your point of view?
Next date of hearing is now mentioned to be mid-March, and it's been stated that after that there will be expeditious hearing on this subject. So we are hopeful that the resolution should come by early. More bullish on the fact that the content, the Supreme Court mention about the fact that Regulatory Commission are fully empowered to look at the bid tariff, which is what is important, and I guess we are going to use that clause, which was mentioned in the other case, and try and see that if we can get back to the original CRC adjudication, which was the compensated tariff, which was complete pass-through in terms of under recovery.
Yes, so we will of course await the results of that judgment.
The important point to be mentioned here is that...
Go ahead, sir.
Sorry, I was saying that the important point to mention here is that even after the compensated tariff, Mundra will be one of the lowest cost option for this country, and that too with a benign coal and with the proper pricing regime that is expected in the years ahead. It's a very good solution. So one should very clearly look at the fact that a tariff of about 250, 260 with imported coal is still going to be the lowest cost option for the country. And a large power station, and that too with supercritical parameters, is a great bet.
Yeah, point taken. But sir, just two things, both on the Mundra part and on the coal part, is what we want clarity on. Why was the EBITDA so low in Mundra this time around? I believe it was about 30 crores. That's sharply lower than the year ago level. And what are the PLF levels there?
So as I've been mentioning before, that because of the fuel price changes and the fact that the availability in this particular quarter was lower than 80%, and therefore we couldn't even account for full fixed cost recovery. As you all know that we try and maintain the availability factor to 80% by end of the year, which is what we will achieve at the end of March. And because of that, the under recovery happens even on the fixed cost of the quarter. So this quarter we couldn't get the full fixed cost recovery, and that is the reason why you see low EBITDA. And also, of course, I mentioned the fact that while the EBITDA for Mundra was 30 crores, the EBITDA for the mines was 330 crores. So therefore, what matters is if there is a absolute strong hedge between the mines and Mundra, and that is the reason why we had acquired those mines.
So will you challenge this sub 10 paise compensatory tariff if it comes through, because it's much lower than your current under recoveries of around 42 to 45 paise, as you mentioned?
So if you are referring to the table that they had done some calculations in the CRC last order, there were errors on record, and that's the reason why we have gone already to APTEL to clarify that part. So don't go by that table, because what they have actually used in the calculation are wrong figures. The under recovery is almost compensated by the present formulation that they have prescribed.
Okay. Let's move on then and discuss the other businesses. What about the coal business, where we have seen quite a bit of improvement? What's the outlook there?
Yes, since the coal prices firmed up, as I mentioned, therefore the mines, all the mines in fact which we have were very positive, and we generated very good profitability at the KPC mines, and also the other smaller mines did very well. So if the prices remain around $80, which is what the present prices are, then one can clearly look forward to good profitability from all those mines.
Okay. What about the Arutmin mine, the sale in Indonesia? The deal has been going on for a bit now. Is it close? Can you give us a timeline on that one?
So Lata, we had already mentioned before that our mines which have been sold were sort of to be adjusted for the infrastructure, as also some of the court cases which were filed by thieves in Australia. That settlement has happened, and we have settled those amounts and signed the revised deal, and now it is expected that within the next quarter or so we will start moving on with the settlement that has been already defined. But the entire process will take about 2 years, because as you clearly know, that Bhumi, which has acquired the Arutmin mine from us, has very poor financials, and therefore the schedule that they have tied up in the revised adjustment is about 2 years, and therefore the entire settlement will take that long. But it will start setting in the next 1 quarter.
Okay. Can you just give us an update on the Welspun acquisition as well? What is the latest, as far as the earnings are concerned, the performance, and what can we expect going ahead?
Welspun assets have already been integrated into Tata Power now, and the portfolio has started to yield, and we announced that this quarter we had a 255 crore EBITDA contribution from Welspun assets. So it's tracking, in fact it's more than what we had envisaged in our plan and the business model. So we are hopeful that coming next year we will have good EBITDA contribution from Welspun assets.
Nevertheless,
and all of them have now started to be on full yield. We are only, sorry, go ahead.
No, sir, I was just worrying about your debt. 45,000 crores, that's still what, 2.5 times your equity. Any plans to pare it down?
First and foremost, yes, we are concerned about our EBITDA, but you need to know that in our sector, the normative debt itself is 2.33, and our objective will be to get it somewhere close to 2. And therefore, we are making all plans to make sure that the non-core assets are sold off, as also the last part of debt that was acquired to take over Welspun asset is swapped with equity option. So therefore, that work is afoot, and you would see us in action in the next 6 months to 3 quarters.
Swapped with equity, so there'll be more share issues. Mr. Sardana, you all will be issuing shares? Okay, well, I think we are not able to get through to Mr. Sardana, but that was important. If he said debt will be swapped for equity, there could be something, some changes in the capital. We'll try and get to the bottom of that. For the moment, it's a break. We are back with more market talk in a minute.